Cleveland Browns beating the New York Jets at the Pro Football Hall of Fame game 21-16. Hall of Fame enshrinement takes place tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Houston Astros visit the New York Yankees, drop the season opener. That game's on Apple TV tonight. We've got lots of Cowboys talk live from Oxnard. Get to it right now here on Cowboys Corner, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Center.
This is Cowboys Corner on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Prescott in the gun, back on his right. Deep left got Lamb, touchdown!
With Cowboys Insider and Blogging the Boys manager and editor-in-chief, RJ Ochoa. Now, live from Oxnard, California, and Cowboys training camp, here's RJ Ochoa.
Hello. It is the Cowboys Corner on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. You can also access us at sasportstar.com, the SA Sports Star YouTube channel, where you can see all of the wonderful interviews that have been happening all throughout the tennis courts here at the River Ridge in Oxnard, California. Our AA Best Bail Bonds Dallas Cowboys training camp coverage also brought to you by our friends at Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. I've eaten about 6 bags all week long. And Texas Cheer Liquor. My name is RJ Ochoa. I'm your captain for this afternoon. Let's have a good time. Let's have a good show. It is our final day out here on the tennis courts, as mentioned. A bit of a dull day in terms of activity around us. The Cowboys technically off. There is a mock game happening that is closed to the media, so we can't send Rudy J out there with a wireless microphone to tell us exactly what is happening. Cowboys have 3 padded practices in the books so far, which took place on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And as mentioned, lots of stars stopping by all week long. And even though the Cowboys are technically off today, one of their players did stop by this morning on R&R in the morning. Sam Williams, second-year pass rusher, joined Rob and Rudy, talked about a variety of things. We'll, of course, revisit that conversation in just a little bit here on Cowboys Corner. It's starting to feel a little bit more real. It's starting to feel like, you know, we're past, I think, the first 2 weeks of school vibes, right? Like, we're at the point where the teachers, you know, not letting that stuff go. Like, now it's like they have legitimate expectations for you, right? Because, you know, well, you can't get lost anymore. You know, you've been doing this for way too long at this point. So because of that, I mean, you know, you had the Pro Football Hall of Fame game last night. It was riveting. Shout out to Kellen Mond. You know, shout out to Aaron Rodgers, who did an interview that was about 45 minutes long on NBC. I'm excited for the enshrinement ceremony myself, excited to see DeMarcus Ware. I know that the internet had its moment with D. Ware singing the national anthem. The story behind that, obviously, very touching. It was cool. It's just cool. It feels nice to kind of be back in the rhyme and rhythm and groove of football season being here. Football season in college football, who knows what that's going to look like in the near future. Just a little bit before we went live here, it's being reported by all college football insiders across the globe that Oregon and Washington about to head to the Big Ten. So if you were holding on to any hope in the yeah, thanks for the message indeed. Pledge has the best taste in music. I don't care what anybody says. And the version, or this song, the drum kind of like on the toms at the end here in the like bridge is super sick. So shout out to Fob, Fall Out Boy. Every piece of music they've ever made is amazing. And James Pledger is the only person besides me who understands that. But yeah, Pac-12 is, as we know it, I think is maybe the best way to put it, the most accurate way to put it. It is out. It is kaput. With Oregon and Washington heading to the Big Ten, it seems only likely and only like a matter of time until the Arizonas head to the Big 12, Utah heading to the Big 12 again. That seems inevitable at this point, so you know we'll see. That's certainly what I wouldn't even say the tea leaves are saying. I would say it's that what the neon lights are saying. Who knows what happens to Oregon State? But college football is this. People like to say, oh, it's not your father's college football. This isn't even. I was going to say it's not even your older siblings' college. This isn't even our college football. This is a very, very strange world. Welcome to the era of super conferences all the way around. So shout out Pac-12. Thanks for the memories indeed. But Cowboys time is kind of, you know, with that, taking full-fledged center stage. It is amazing to me the general and typical Cowboys way. So I'm not, numb to that effect. I obviously have a job because of it. So I'm grateful for it in that sense. But that so much has just been made about this trash talking thing between Dak Prescott and Trayvon Diggs. I mean, what are we doing here? Like, I'm fine if we want to make a big deal about things that are worth talking about. But the fact that, so many people have had to explain to the world that trash talking happens in a sport is just insane to me. It's equally insane that Mike McCarthy has had to explain himself several times for his comments about wanting to run the damn ball. I mean, I understand that there are a lot of people who take these, pieces of low-hanging fruit and purposefully run with them and make stories about them. I'm not naive to that idea, but I also believe that there are people who legitimately believe these things, who see and hear these pieces of news or pieces of information and legitimately believe that trash talk in this particular instance, as that one example, is foreign or is taboo or should not be allowed or tolerated. I also believe there were a lot of people who believed that, Mike McCarthy wanted to run the ball. That was going to happen. We're going to run the ball at will. Shout out to Dan Graziano, who did a column this morning at ESPN that was about overreactions and underreactions. He does this frequently throughout the season, but reacting to kind of big headlines and big stories and big takeaways over the course of the offseason. And he talked about it relative to many teams in the NFL, but obviously talked about it with regards to the Cowboys. And he put it really well. I'll just read it straight from him. I tweeted this link out or X this out, whatever we're calling this. In McCarthy's 5 years as the Saints offensive coordinator, New Orleans ranked 17th in the league in rush attempts. In 2005 in San Francisco, the Niners ranked 20th in rushing attempts. In 13 seasons in the league in rush attempts and 20th in rush yards. But because he said it one time in a weird, casual, loose sort of, moseying sort of way, that means that we have to build not even a mountain, but a skyscraper out of this molehill. It's dumb. It's silly. We don't have to do that. We don't have to take the cheese. But in a weird way, it has also recentered me to feel like football is truly and totally and absolutely back, because that is the Cowboys way. I know we've talked about, obviously, and throughout the show, we'll kind of share some memories of the week. We've had a good time, and I know Jason and Joe will do so later on today on the Blitz, and Rudy and Rob did earlier. But one of my really kind of big takeaways in a weird way is how big of an operation this has become. This is my 4th time coming to Cowboys training camp with the SA Sports Star crew, and this is the first time that I've seen this newfangled setup. The Cowboys, bordering the practice field, have these massive, almost amphitheater-like stands for their VIP areas. This is a ridiculous comparison, but I'm going to make it nonetheless because I had a sprightly glass of iced coffee this morning. It sort of feels like TPC Scottsdale and the Waste Management, like you have this kind of, sort of stadium surrounding the practice field. They're more than bleachers is really, I guess, the best way to put it. And so it does kind of create this tunnel effect, which is very, very, very cool and just kind of adds to the Cowboys-ness of everything. So you're walking around, everything's, glitz and glamour, and then everybody's talking about the tiniest little details and making these massive stories about them. So, this is the way that Dallas Cowboys roll. This is kind of par for the course. There is a golf course right nearby, for what it's worth. I've never played there myself. I know we gave Jason a hard time for that earlier this week, but it has felt very Cowboys out in terms of the way the whole world sees them. And again, we'll share things that have been said about these particular things. What Dak Prescott told the Blitz yesterday, we'll get into that in a little bit. It's been really cool, I think. That's been another one of my big takeaways, how us against the world the Cowboys are. And I know how lame that sounds. I know that sounds like a sports cliche. I know it seems like, oh, same old thing. Cowboys. Cowboys going to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, wake me up when September ends. That's not too far away, Green Day. But, I mean, they really are doing a great job of sort of internally living in their own bubble. That's what's they live in a bubble here. That's really that. Dan Quinn talked about that with the guys yesterday. I mean, they are sort of just living and operating in their own world here. Whatever anybody says on any national show or anything like that, they just kind of, let it slide off. And I've been really impressed with that. This is a really young team, and sometimes in not just the NFL, but in sports in general, young teams can be susceptible to big stories and to that kind of narrative and swirling them. But the Cowboys have managed to kind of block it all out, and I think that speaks really highly to the level of leadership they have in Dak Prescott on the field, and the level of leadership they have in their building, and Mike McCarthy and all the coaching staff. Obviously, Brian Schottenheimer, Dan Quinn, John Fossil, everybody's kind of doing their job here. And if you are on the fence about being willing to buy into the Cowboys, I would say buy in. I mean, look, it's never an easy ride. It's always a scary sort of thing. But I mean, there is nothing but reason to believe in this team right now at this point in time. And for that reason, I'm willing to sign up. I can hear Mike McCarthy yelling, by the way, the mock game. Again, we're not allowed in there, but he's definitely yelling. So there's that leadership that we talked about happening. Memories from the week as we kind of get set. We set the table for the whole 2-hour ride here on the corner. There has been a lot of delicious food. I had some more sushi last night. I went and saw some friends of mine here on the left coast. But as I understand it, the Sports Star crew went out to Ventura. That's right. Spence is giving me the nod. Spence, if you can give me a hand, 1 to 10, how would you grade your meal? 1 to 10? An 8, solid 8. Oh, mine was a 9. But a solid 8 for the Sports Star crew out at Ventura. I believe they toured the Rudder Room. And I was not there. I was packing diligently. That's the thing. Like, you do a show like this where you got to get out of town. We're all headed to Los Angeles tonight. Spence and I actually, after the corner is done, we're hopping in the car. I think we're going to do 90 on the 101. We'll see how quickly we can get there. But you've got to kind of live and adjust and run and be ready. So all my stuff is packed up. We'll see. Maybe we grab some lunch on the way. Who knows? It has a real summer camp kind of vibe. And I think that's been a fun sort of experience for all of us, heading back to the house every night, arguing, some of us more than others. I'm not going to point fingers, but Joe Reinagel, Rudy J, you know who you are. And discussing, debating, having new experiences, walking down to the beach, enjoying kind of the pleasures that the California weather has to offer. It's been a really, really fun ride. Like I said, this is my 4th time coming out. This is the best time that I've had. It's just been super cool. And part of the experience for me really has been my impressions of the team and my takeaways of the team. I really feel steadfast in the notion that we're seeing a team that is prepared, that is pissed off, that has everything that they need, that is reserved, that is keeping the appropriate things close to the vest, and that has all the potential in the world. And the fact that it all kind of, came together in a catalytic sense last night with the Hall of Fame game starting, as mentioned. I mean, there's football. I mean, I've seen this note, tweet, Instagram post, whatever, 1,000 times in the last whatever it is, like 3 or 4 days. But starting this week, we have a football game every week in some capacity until February. So we made it. Congratulations. Everybody shake hands. Everybody slap hands. We did it. Fist bumps all around. We did it. We made it. We survived. The Premier League is back next week. We've got an incredible race in the AL West between the 2 Texas teams, the Houston Astros and the Texas Rangers. And not just an incredible race, but they're both going for it, trading for Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander. Like, the sports times are amazing right now. And who's to like even discount Wemby? Like, when we get through all this and all of a sudden, like, life is really, really fun and promising as a San Antonio Spurs fan once again. So the good times are here, and we're gonna enjoy them all together. That's why we're here, to have fun, to break bread, to share a plate of hot wings, and to talk about the things we love and the things that we disagree on. And that's kind of our mantra. But we're gonna get into Dak Prescott and his thoughts on this stupid narrative about the trash talking or whatever. We've got that. We've got some audio from Sam Williams and the fellas earlier this morning. Basically, we have the greatest 2 hours of your life in store for you here on the Cowboys Corner on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, also available at sasportstar.com and the SA Sports Star YouTube channel. We'll see you in a minute.
It's R&R in the morning.
Monday on R&R in the morning, we are back in studio. Our trip from Oxnard is over, and we tell you why. Well, I'll tell you why the Cowboys are going to win the division.
Back in studio, looking at Edwin's pretty face, and as the day returns, we still got some Spurs talk. Wemby in the house, and they've been busy. There's a brand new name to that place they're going to be playing.
It's your wake-up call. R&R in the morning, 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Smoker's Paradise, your premium smoke shop. Vaporizers, disposable e-cigarettes, hookah accessories, water pipes, cigars, and more. Now with 15 area locations, including the newest location at South Cross and Highway 37. Visit smokersparadise.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Hormones can affect everything. Bad skin, bad hair, low energy, poor sleep, brain fogginess, libido, and weight gain. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health, and we take a functional approach to your hormone problems. Eating right and exercise will not be beneficial without optimal hormone function. This goes for men and women. We do state-of-the-art testing to get to the root of your hormone issues and help you get well and stay well. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health. We can help. 210-468-1891.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Cowboy boots are more than functional. They're works of art. At Boot Barn, we see a cowboy boot not only as a symbol of the West, but also as a unique masterpiece. Corral designs their boots with artistry in mind, from striking laser-cut inlays to Western embroidery. Their handcrafted boots are dedicated to artistic craftsmanship, for cowboy boots made to be worn and collected. Corral boots at Boot Barn.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-452-5050. That's 1-800-452-5050. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-452-5050. That's 1-800-452-5050.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Gain presents a tale of longing and long-lasting scent. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Add Gain scent beads for an even longer lasting scent.
O'Reilly.
Did you know 1 in 4 car batteries is weak and needs to be replaced? O'Reilly Auto Parts will test your battery for free. If your battery needs to be replaced, our professional parts people can help you find the right Superstart battery for your vehicle and budget. Don't wait. Get your battery tested for free today at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Jim Rome Show is coming to San Antonio.
He's great. He's awesome. The guy's insane.
The Jim Rome Show debuts Monday, August 14th at 12 noon on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back to the corner. Cowboys Corner here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. SASportsStar.com, the SA Sports Star YouTube channel where you can see me in my, well, I don't know if you can see me. The internet is feisty today. So if you can, then we're alive. If you can't, then we still are, but just not in a two-dimensional sense. We've regressed to the singular dimension. Anyway, so it's a quiet day right now here on the tennis courts in Oxnard, California. Cowboys having their mock game that media is not allowed to attend, so we're just here chilling, doing a radio show. But it's been, I would say the general tenor around the trash talk stuff has been annoyance around here. Like, I do think there's like a common thread of like, is this really a thing? Like, are people really talking about this? That's obviously the effect of national shows and national narratives. Again, people, I hesitate to make this claim and like point the finger like this, but I would say people just making things up. Like that's really what we've kind of bordered on over the course of the last, whatever it is, 4 days, with regards to this silly trash talk narrative. Now, to kind of rewind the clock, maybe you were busy this week. Maybe you had no idea what happened. Maybe you sort of had a more superficial level of understanding, and you maybe you don't want to admit to anybody, right? Maybe you go to the brew, you go wherever, you go to Slackers, and there's a lot of people talking about this, and you're just kind of staying quiet because you don't totally know. I got you. So what happened was during practice, during a play, this happened right in front of me. I was with Rudy J. Trayvon Diggs, Dak Prescott, just kind of friendly jawing at each other, kind of clapping back and forth at one another about a play after Dak had some success and the defense had some success, just in a spirited way. And there may have been a word or two that you can't say on the radio or that you shouldn't say anywhere. And it was caught on camera because these are the Dallas Cowboys. And people had some takes, right? People turned this into, oh my gosh, they don't respect Dak. They don't this, that, whatever. And then sometimes in life, sometimes when something like this happens, you get the like other end of the spectrum take, right? So the first take is, and not the show, the first take is, oh, they don't respect Dak. So the like counterbalance, take to achieve balance in the take world, the force of take, the counter take is, oh, well, if you've never played sports, then you don't understand. Here's like whether or not you've played sports, like, this is a very simple thing to understand is normal. Like if you've been in any setting in life, sports, work, corporate America, wherever, if you have friends and you've played video games or anything, like there has been gentle ribbing, rubbing, competition, whatever you want to call it. And everybody kind of had to explain that to people, including with Dak Prescott yesterday. Dak was at the podium before he came over here, sat down right next to where I'm seated right now, spoke to Jason Minix and Joe Reinagle on the Blitz. You can watch that interview on the SA Sports Star YouTube channel. And he was like, dude, this is a whole bunch of nothing.
It's 1,000% not a story at all. As I said before, I'm just glad they didn't get everything that's always said and talked about because, to me, it's a sign of not a lot of people have been in heated competing moments, and that's all that is. That's a brother right there. It's a guy that I see as a little brother. We have real life conversations. So when you're on the field, nothing really matters. Those are words, and those are guys holding each other accountable to wanting to be great.
Good for Dak. Good for Dak. I mean, and I feel for Dak because Dak had to say that a million times. He had to tell a million people that it was a non-story. But heavy is the head that wears the crown as QB1 of the Dallas Cowboys. But so moving on from that, I do think I hate revisiting this, but it is important to contextualize it because sometimes, like I said, somebody's parachuting in late in the moment and doesn't understand the full context of what happened. But getting back to the football of this all, we've talked so much about this week about how we've been impressed by this, we've been impressed by that. This looks good. This looks great. This is blah, blah, blah. And that turns into like, well, this team better win the Super Bowl. I don't know that this team's going to win the Super Bowl, but what I do know is this is an incredible roster. This is one of the best rosters in the NFL. And that is an assertion that Dak Prescott agrees with himself.
Yeah, honestly, Super Bowl. I've had a lot of wins in my career, a lot of winning seasons, and at this point, going into year 8, playing for this organization, it was that way in year 1, and I don't think the expectations have yet changed. It's to win a Super Bowl, and it's well overdue in this organization, and it's something that I want to get done in my career, and not just one. And but you've got to start with that. So it's about building on these past 2 years of 12-win seasons, making it to the playoffs, but winning. And once we get there, and winning the whole thing.
You hear this question a lot. I get asked this question all the time, right? I get asked like, well, what would define a successful season for the Cowboys? That was actually the question that Dak himself was asked that led to that answer. I get asked like, well, is McCarthy on, in the situation, whatever, blah, blah, what does he have to do? And I said, like, it all depends on context, right? It all depends on why did they do this? Why didn't they do that? That information is important as you kind of look back and assess a season that any given team in the NFL had. So that being said, I think it's cool that Dak Prescott is kind of, shrugging that off and saying, look, we got to win a Super Bowl. We understand it's been a very long time. And I know people are tired of hearing of this, but it is very, and like in a way that it hasn't really been true, in my opinion, that it is a cloud that hangs over the organization. It is a cloud that everybody sort of feels and that lingers, that this is, they haven't gotten past the division round. They haven't gotten obviously to a title game. They haven't gotten obviously to a Super Bowl. I've contextualized this a million different ways in my career, right? I mean, consider that, I don't know, DeMarcus Ware is going in the Hall of Fame this week. Like DeMarcus Ware was drafted 9 years after the drought began. And he played his whole career, didn't win a Super Bowl with the Cowboys, had to leave to do it, waited the mandatory 5-year, exemption period, and now is being and actually had to wait 6 years because it was, dumb. He wasn't put in as a first ballot Hall of Famer, and is now, literally being enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. In fact, this is my favorite way to put this. It's a salty way, but when the Cowboys last won a Super Bowl title game, appeared in a title game, whatever, John Elway did not have a Super Bowl of any kind. He has since gone on to win 2 as a player and then began a whole different profession in football, which was the managerial side, became a GM, granted, of the team he played for, the Denver Broncos, and literally took the aforementioned DeMarcus Ware and added him to his team and literally built a team that won the Super Bowl. So it's been a long time, and it's very obvious that everybody understands that. I don't think anybody is negatively weighed down by that, but I do think it is it's a carrot. I mean, it's a carrot that everybody's kind of chasing and everybody understands and acknowledges is a thing. And I think you have to acknowledge that. If you're running from that, if you're hiding from that, you're doing the whole thing a disservice, because that's why people are so passionate, right? That's why people care, because they want to see this happen. And I think that this team is well positioned to do that. Understands that and said that really well himself with the players around him. He's got one of the better supporting casts around him that he has had, obviously, throughout his time in the NFL. But more than that, I think he's kind of willing to do a little bit more himself. That was another interesting answer he had with the crew, talking about, he was asked about whether or not he's going to be scrambling a little bit more. And I was very fascinated by what he had to say.
It's going to be a little different. I just think in the way that he calls the play is plays are a little bit more aggressive in a sense, and but that you might not see it because he's calling them. But we've also communicated so well that, hey, make sure that's the right look. Make sure this is exactly what we want. I've got a few plays always in my back pocket to get to if I'm not comfortable what's being called against this defense. But we've got so many playmakers. I think you're going to see the ball coming out of my hand faster. 2 guys like CD, Tony Pollard, Deuce, Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup, these young tight ends, and it's a special group that we have, and all of them are hungry to get the ball, and all of them are hungry to make plays.
Very well said by Dak. I think something that everyone has said that we've talked to around here is everyone is being taught and everyone is understanding the why behind each play, why this is being called, why this is happening, why this is the situation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I do want to address one question on the YouTube side of things quickly here. Bubba Rivas says, RJ, do you think Dak should play in the preseason? Last year he didn't play, and remember that Tampa game he played horrible and got hurt. Not a fan. I totally understand your position here, Bubba. I get it completely. I would offer that the year before in 2021, he did not play in the preseason and was remarkable against that same team, against Tampa in the opener. And this is coming from a place of fear, and I have no problem admitting that. We've come this far, right? We've come this far waiting for the season to return, for football to be back in our lives. We just talked about, right? We have a football game every week through February. I do not want to risk it. It's not worth it. You're so close right now. I mean, there's nothing substantial that he could glean from a preseason performance to where it's worth and to where it would justify the risk. So my answer is not only no, but absolutely not. But thank you for the question, Bubba. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm having a wonderful day. I hope you all are here too. The Cowboys Corner rolls on here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The guys are on the road again. This time, San Antonio Sports Star travels to Cowboys training camp in Oxnard, California.
Deep down the right side. Oh, it's caught.
With the full support of AA Best Bail Bonds, providing complete backup for any of those things that happen while on the road. Nobody provides better coverage of training camp than 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Left side of the end zone. Touchdown.
We'll hear from the players, coaches, be right in the middle of the media frenzy, and of course, hear from owner Jerry Jones.
We get to suck on that all week.
It's Cowboys training camp, live from Oxnard, California. Presented by AA Best Bail Bonds, Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, Texas Cheer Liquor, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, and SASportsStar.com.
Mornings were made for better things than rheumatoid arthritis or RA. Xeljanz tofacitinib is a pill for adults with moderate to severe RA when tumor necrosis factor blockers did not work well or could not be tolerated. Xeljanz can help relieve joint pain, swelling, and help stop further joint damage. Xeljanz can lower your ability to fight infections. Don't start if you have one. Before and during treatment, your doctor should check for infections like TB and do blood tests. Serious, sometimes fatal infections, cancers including lymphoma and lung, blood clots, serious heart-related events, tears in the stomach or intestines, and allergic reactions have happened. People 50 and older with heart disease risk factors have an increased risk of death. Tell your doctor if you've had hepatitis B or C, have flu-like symptoms, are prone to infections, or have ever had a heart attack, stroke, clot, or other heart problems, or swelling of lips, tongue, throat, or hives. Ask your doctor about prescription Xeljanz. Visit Xeljanz.com or call 1-844-XELJANZ.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149. There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Car wrecks can wreck your life and leave you with medical bills, lost wages, and lasting pain. That's why you should call Hilly and Solis. Hilly and Solis are former prosecutors that know how to fight and know how to win. Contact them at 210-762-6261.
Principal office in San Antonio, Texas. Message brought to you by a non-attorney spokesperson.
Joe Reinagle here. I want to tell you about something that has completely changed my life. I had vision correction surgery at Parkhurst New Vision. The results are amazing. The readers are a thing of the past. If you're like me and tired of those glasses, call Parkhurst New Vision at 210-585-2020. They offer a variety of services like vision correction surgery. So call Parkhurst New Vision, 210-585-2020, or get them online at sanantoniolasik.com.
What could be more perfect than the perfect ratio of sizzling sausage to freshly cracked egg to melty cheese, sandwiched together in a perfectly toasted McDonald's McMuffin? If we added jalapenos to spice things up,
For a limited time only, grab the new cheesy jalapeno sausage McMuffin with egg paired with a refreshing iced coffee. Order in the app to earn free food. At participating McDonald's, must opt into rewards.
For over 17 years, the award-winning legal team at George Salinas Injury Lawyers has been representing personal injury victims all across Texas. Have you been injured in an accident? George Salinas is ready to represent you with free consultations, 24/7 availability, and no attorney fees unless we win. George Salinas Injury Lawyers will help you get the results you need so you can focus on recovery. If you've been injured, one call could change your entire case. Call George Salinas Injury Lawyers, 210-225-0909, or visit georgesalinas.com.
George gets justice. Live from the Cowboys training camp in Oxnard, this is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, KTFM Fullersville.
Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon. And in case I don't see you, good night. Here on the Cowboys Corner, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. That is SASportsStar.com, the SA Sports Star YouTube channel. My name, RJ Ochoa. Your name is perfect, whatever it is. His name is James Pledger. He's on the ones and twos, keeping this ship afloat. It's been a fun week out here in Oxnard, California. And I say that because I haven't had to get up at 2 a.m. every day. All right, now, I'm not saying Rob and Rudy are heroes, but I'm not saying that either. It's a heroic effort to some degree what they do. And this morning they got up. They made the trek. They were out here on the tennis courts. They were moving. They were grooving. And they were met with one of the more physical specimens on this earth. Dallas Cowboys pass rusher Sam Williams was a guest on R&R in the morning this morning, and he talked about a variety of things. The first thing, well, let's get to the first thing. So the first thing was, look, I love Dan Quinn. All right, I adore Dan Quinn. I loved Dan Quinn's interview yesterday with the aforementioned R&R in the morning. And it's pretty easy to see that everybody loves Dan Quinn. Everybody's kind of like, feels like, they just want to love on Dan Quinn and whatever, to Mike McCarthy. But Dan Quinn is awesome and deserves his flowers. And that is really obvious in terms of anybody who plays for him. Sam Williams was asked about playing for his defensive coordinator, and he appropriately gave him his flowers.
I feel like playing for him, it brings out the best of you because he don't settle for less. If he knows your potential, he's going to demand that every time. So I'm very blessed to have him as a coach. So he just gets whatever he can out of me every day, and doing that is going to keep stacking up. So
it is important to have a stout defensive coordinator. If you're Sam Williams, right? Obviously, if you're Jalen Tolbert, doesn't really impact you or influence you as much. That being said, there's only so much that Dan Quinn can do, right? He can only control things, there's a limit in terms of what he can control. He can orchestrate, he can plan, he can put you in the proper places, but he can't, execute on your behalf, which is why Sam Williams deserves a lot of himself. I don't think that enough has been made, enough has been discussed about Sam Williams and what he brought to the Cowboys as a rookie, despite the fact that he was a second-round pick. I know, that is a rare thing, but we talk so much. I talk a lot about how the Cowboys tend to kind of butcher their second-round picks. Like they're not that great. I mean, right now they're taking a lot of heat for the fact that, Luke Schoonmaker's not playing well. But Sam Williams in 15 games last year had 4 sacks. 4 sacks. I mean, that's a big deal. It's a massive deal. Had 4 sacks. And this is not the way you should do this. So what I'm about to do is really dumb and really stupid, but it works to my narrative. So I'm going to do it. Do you know who else had 4 sacks? New York Giants, first-round draft pick, Kayvon Thibodeau. That's dumb, right? To say, well, they must be the same player, whatever. That being said, though, it's impressive. It's impressive as hell. that Sam Williams had 4 sacks as a rookie, and a big reason for that is obviously Dan Quinn, but obviously what's around him as well. And it's important to acknowledge that he's able to learn from somebody like Dan Quinn, but that he also has really impressive players around him to poke the minds of and to ask questions of, and that is something else that Sam Williams spoke about.
It depends, on say for run stuff, I'll go to D-Law most of the time because D-Law is getting a run. Micah for pass rush and counter stuff, and then Tyron the O-lineman, I ask him for keys and stuff. So it's really everybody.
That. I know that Rudy J conducted that interview with Rob, but I hope he listened, because what Sam said is he goes to DeMarcus Lawrence for help in the run game. And if you have heard me in my weekly appearances on R&R in the morning, you know that something I'm always telling Rudy, something I'm begging Rudy to understand, is that DeMarcus Lawrence is one of the premier run defending defensive ends in the NFL. I'm not going to say that DeMarcus Lawrence has the sack numbers to whatever. I know that's what everybody wants to focus on. Again, you shouldn't do that, as I talked about with regards to the Sam Williams, Kayvon Thibodeau comparison, but all that matters. I mean, so you're talking about Sam Williams in his second year in the NFL has people, these are the people around him. It's dumb. It's not real. Dan Quinn, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, even Dorrance Armstrong is an incredible coach. Aiden Dirty. I mean, these are people who are significant game changers in the development of young players. So it's exciting. It's exciting, I think, to consider what Sam Williams is going to be. He has a real chance to kind of be a star pass rusher opposite of Micah Parsons in the future. His potential, he was, if you forgot, because it was a year and a half ago at this point, he was compared to Micah Parsons. That was literally his comp coming out of Ole Miss when Dan Quinn went down there. Everybody said they looked alike and sounded alike, et cetera, et cetera. His potential is sky high, which is something he is very confident in.
I know my potential. Like I said, right now I'm just working on being a better me and being a pro. And once I get that down pat, I'm being the same conversation Micah, Myles Garrett, and all the great speed. So
I heard that.
I know.
Speaking it to existence.
Nah, it's gonna happen.
That is, it's confident, but it's not overly confident, right? It's not brash. It's not ridiculous. It's not out of line. It's fair to have confidence when you're somebody like Sam Williams. And I know we had a little bit of a scare early on this week when he had the shoulder strain thing pop up. Thankfully, he's all right. I think that's something the Cowboys want to keep kind of close eyes on. I think it's important to kind of continually pay attention to things on an injury front. Where the Cowboys stand as of today, Friday the 4th, we know that Donovan Wilson and Israel Mukuamu are out for multiple weeks. Dorrance Armstrong had a thing they were being careful with. Trayvon Diggs had that toe thing, but obviously he's come back. It's all pretty nice. The big thing is Zach Martin, but even that is not really a big thing. I don't know that anybody's panicked right now. I think everybody misses him, obviously, but I don't know that anybody is, really concerned that he's going to miss some time. Pledge has sent me a DM, so thank you very much, Pledge. As we shift just, for a moment here back to the demise, the dissemination, or not the dissemination, the whatever. So I guess this has become the official song of the Pac-12, or the Pac-10, whatever, Pac-9, out of the Pac-5. But the tweet comes from Brett McMurphy. Thank you, Pledge. Arizona State and Utah are showing interest in the Big 12, sources have told Action Network. Arizona has already applied for Big 12 membership, but Big 12 now exploring its options following news in Oregon and Washington leaving for the Big 10. Yeah, this just feels inevitable, right? This feels where the chips are going to fall, right? We got the Zonas in Utah in the Big 12. It's crazy. All this is really difficult to keep up with. It makes for the whole conference pride thing to be kind of silly, right? The people. I suppose that will never go away in the SEC, but the people that are oh no, conference pride, we're Pac-12 people all the way through. No, Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore. The Pac-12 is a figment of our imaginations. It's gone. You can let go of the Pac-12 forever. If you have a Pac-12 hat, you have a collector's item at this point in time. Get ready for the Zonas in Utah in the Big 12. It seems that is very, very, very much on the way. Actually, I'm trying to think of notable Arizona State Cowboys now that I think about it. Danny White went to Arizona State. It's really the only one I can think of. Obviously, that was a long time ago for the Cowboys, but that's the one for me. But back to Sam Williams, I'm very excited about year 2. I mean, it's hard to come in as a rookie pass rusher and make an impact. He didn't necessarily have a ton of opportunities last year. Obviously, it's difficult when you have the bevy of pass rushers that the Cowboys do. But the fact that he did, I mean, there were a lot of sacks to go around last year, and there are a lot this year. And that's why, every practice, it's, Darren Woodson, thank you, Pledge. What a great call. How could I forget? I got Danny White, but overlooked Darren Woodson. Goodness gracious. That is, if the Hall of Fame would put him in, he'd be on my mind this time of year, but they won't. So I blame them, not me. But anyway, there are a lot of, I really don't know the player I'm least excited about, if that makes sense, after a week, because I wrote this yesterday, even Dante Fowler is starting to pop, right? We're like 5-6 players down the depth chart for the Cowboys, and we're still excited about them. Dante Fowler not wrecking practice, yesterday on a Micah Parsons level, but still in Dak Prescott's face, causing disruptions, making things difficult, stirring things up, so to speak. And the fact that, again, your players that far down the group are making any kind of sizable impact is a huge win and a huge testament, as we talked about, to Dan Quinn and what they have to offer. If we looked at the offensive side of the ball, I came here, right? We all got here on Sunday, and I was not ready to believe in the Jalen Tolbert thing. I kind of thought there's no way that this is going to be a thing. This is just early on. These are just camp eyes. Just miss me with it. I have fallen head over heels. I believe in Jalen Tolbert. Now, if you tell me to put a number on it, I could see something like, I don't know, 800 yards, 6 touchdowns. I think that's a big win for Jalen Tolbert in 2023. I think that's a big, big, big win. I think he'll be a significant contributor to this team. I think he'll be somebody who obviously helps the offense. And I think my bigger question on the offense is what Michael Gallup will look like. We've talked about this many times, but the Cowboys lacked explosive playmakers last year. I'm ready to say that Jalen Tolbert is one of the additions that they've kind of had relative to 2022. I know he was on the team, but you get my point. So Jalen Tolbert qualifies to me. I don't know that I'm ready to put Michael Gallup in that territory of explosive playmakers. I feel like we haven't seen a super explosive version of him so far. And along the Jalen Tolbert lines, while I was unwilling or maybe a little bit too scarred, right? Too negative, too pessimistic to believe in it as a viable and legitimate thing, I was similarly negative or down or kind of prove it to me about Deuce Vaughn and Kevontae Turpin. Now, Kevontae Turpin, spoke this offseason many months ago at this point about wanting to give the Cowboys a reason to use him on offense. He said that he wanted to force them to use him on offense. Okay, great. All that sounds good. But whether or not that would actually ring true, I did not necessarily buy in on. Having been out here for a week, I completely buy in on it. And I completely buy in on it partly because of what Mike McCarthy said yesterday on R&R in the morning. He talked about how, the fact that Turpin got here a year ago is Turpin was a rookie in the NFL a year ago. And I think that gets forgotten because he's not the age or wasn't the age. He's not he wasn't the conventional age of, your standard rookie in the NFL. And so it takes time to learn these things. I mean, Turpin has been involved in legitimate offensive drills and legitimate offensive practices and movements and installs, as we've been out here. And that's, different, right? And so I'm ready to buy in that he's a legitimate part of the offense. It just wasn't something that could transpire last year, which is why it didn't. And I certainly believe in Deuce Vaughn. I just didn't know if the opportunity would be there. But he's earned it. I mean, and we all know this. You have to pass protect if you're a running back, and he's clearly capable of, in his own way, leveraging his physical stature. And so he's found a way to kind of earn his share of snaps. And so you've added these two dynamic, explosive playmakers in the offense. We heard Dak Prescott mention them by name. And again, Mike McCarthy talking about them gave me a lot of confidence specifically in Cavante Turpin and Deuce Vaughn.
I love that guy. I mean, just the way he came in here last year, because this is when he arrived here in middle of training camp. So, but has tremendous ability. He's just so dynamic with the ball in his hands. But we're still developing him as a route runner, because his ability to. He's got an incredible stride, and he's probably the quickest guy on the field too. So his combination could be lethal. But yeah, we definitely want to get have more involved than just playing the normal rotations at receiver. We don't want to be in packages where we have to identify, every time he goes in the game, it's here. So, if he can play in the flow, which he is right now, which is different than last year, just playing the flow of the offense, it'll give us a chance to, move him around and just play
do
the
some
higher
different
speed,
things.
which I think will help him on those specialty plays.
I know it sounds tired, and I know it sounds maybe obvious, but this is such a significant thing for the Cowboys. But by the time, look, 3rd and 30 was awesome with T.Y. Hilton. That was one of the greatest moments of my life, a Cowboys fan, right? And the fact that it was 3rd and 30, the fact that it was T.Y. Hilton's first catch, the fact that it was Christmas Eve, the fact that it was the Eagles, the fact that it was Darius Slay, who calls himself Big Play Slay. Yeah, T.Y. had the big play, baby. It was awesome. But that was it. That was the T.Y. Hilton experience as a Dallas Cowboy. And the Cowboys, we all remember how they flirted with, Odell a year ago, how Trayvon and Micah took him to the Mavs. Was it Mavs Suns? Oh yeah, it's because it's Odell. Mavs Suns game. We remember all that. They were heavily invested because they needed help. And look, that was their own fault, obviously, with the Amari Cooper trade a year ago. We don't need to relitigate that. But they were starving for playmakers offensively. And so think about the additions that they have made, or they have found, had acquired in various ways since then. CeeDee Lamb's obviously still there. He was there a year ago, so you got that one. Tony Pollard was still there, but now he's there. And not only is he there now, but now he's elevated, right? Like seemingly his usage is elevated. So you've technically added, call it 120% of what Tony Pollard was a year ago. So you've improved technically in just those two players in that sense. You've added Brandon Cooks, who was a trade acquisition, obviously. 1 week after the fact, Mike McCarthy mentioned his little "I want to run the ball" comment, and everybody freaked out. So you've added Brandon Cooks. You've added Michael Gallup in a different way. And again, I know that's still a sort of TBD proposition, but you've added Michael Gallup 1 year removed from the torn ACL. He's a year and a half. He tore it in January of 2022. So you're talking about, at this point in time, he's 19 months removed versus a year ago, his literal first, activity since doing it and everything. So call that 105% of what Michael Gallup was a year ago, right? Beyond that, you've added Deuce Vaughn, right? Another explosive playmaker in the backfield. You've added Cavante Turpin. What? We're up to again, we're 3 literal new players in Brandon Cooks, Brandon Cooks and Deuce Vaughn are 2. But we've improved upon, because we have to include Cavante Turpin as an improvement. We've improved to some degree on Michael Gallup. We've definitely improved to a degree on Tony Pollard, because the volume of opportunities will be there for him. We've also got an improved Michael Gallup because, again, of the fact that's mentioned. But more than that, actually, what I meant to say, we have an improved Jalen Tolbert. So everything is improved. There have been no demerits, nothing taken away from the Cowboys offense. There have been nothing but improvements from an offensive explosion standpoint. If you're looking to get dynamic playmakers, it's very clear and obvious that was the goal. And I would say it was executed very well. Was it executed flawlessly or perfectly? Would you have preferred the Cowboys also trade for, DeAndre Hopkins or sign DeAndre Hopkins? I don't know. We have to be real and practical and fair in our expectations of the team here. But all told, they are a completely and totally different offense than they were a year ago. And that bears repeating. That actually bears screaming out loud. The expectations for them can be whatever you want them to be, right? You can offer one more detail in that sense, in that respect. So they have added a play caller in Mike McCarthy who is focused on being more explosive, right? So you've not only improved your personnel from an explosion standpoint, but you've improved the person calling the shots. I fully expect this Cowboys offense to be very, very, very good. I think if you want to contextualize it this way, we're getting close to that time of year. In fact, it basically is that time of year. Dak Prescott's going to be a bargain of a fantasy quarterback. You're going to have to pay a high price to get the likes of CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard, but even Brandon Cooks, I think, is probably going to get a little overdrafted relative to the field, but Michael Gallup could wind up being a huge bargain. I mean, Jalen Tolbert, if you've got Tolbert in the Dynasty League, James Pledger and I are in a Dynasty League. Pledger need to check who has Tolbert in there, by the way. But I mean, those players are going to be very, very, very legitimate values for them. Maybe you have a question about what's going to happen at tight end. Cool. I don't care. Tight end is not as important to me because they're not as fast as all of my explosive position players, skill position players, that is, who can get out, break out, do what they need to do. And more importantly, I mean, than all of this is that Dak Prescott is improved. I mean, Dak Prescott is incredible. And you don't have, if I'm going the full way here, you don't have the questions along the offensive line at this point. They could certainly show up. They could certainly rise up. You could certainly deal with injuries as the Cowboys did last year, or you could maybe not. Things could potentially work out and you don't have to struggle with that. James has told me that Jalen Tolbert is a free agent. Oh, Pledge. I know I need to set up the rosters, Pledge. So you better not pick him up when we do that. So please don't do that. Good news for my Dynasty League. But that's been my real takeaway. I came here hesitant about Jalen Tolbert, Deuce Vaughn, and Kevontae Turpin. I am leaving with a full-fledged level of confidence that they are going to be legitimate playmakers for this team on the offensive side of the ball, which is an important thing. It's like kind of the thing, right? Like the name of the game is who can score the most points. And so if the Cowboys position themselves well enough to be able to do that, well, good for them. The first hour of Cowboys Corner is coming to a close. We do have one more left, and then Tim Spence and I are going to book it to the City of Angels. We might stop by Shohei Ohtani's house on the way there. But before then, like I said, we have another hour's worth of riveting conversation to have. So do not go anywhere. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, sasportstar.com, the SA Sports Star YouTube channel. Plus, do not go anywhere because after this, when Tim and I are on the road, you've got the Blitz with Jason Minix and Joe Reinagle. The good times roll on here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's R&R in the morning.
Monday on R&R in the morning, we are back in studio. Our trip from Oxnard is over, and we tell you why. Well, I'll tell you why the Cowboys are going to win the division.
Back in studio, looking at Edwin's pretty face, and as the day returns, we still got some Spurs talk. Wemby in the house, and they've been busy. There's a brand new name to that place they're going to be playing.
It's your wake-up call. R&R in the morning, 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Smoker's Paradise, your premium smoke shop. Vaporizers, disposable e-cigarettes, hookah accessories, water pipes, cigars, and more. Now with 15 area locations, including the newest location at South Cross and Highway 37. Visit smokersparadise.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Hormones can affect everything. Bad skin, bad hair, low energy, poor sleep, brain fogginess, libido, and weight gain. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health, and we take a functional approach to your hormone problems. Eating right and exercise will not be beneficial without optimal hormone function. This goes for men and women. We do state-of-the-art testing to get to the root of your hormone issues and help you get well and stay well. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health. We can help. 210-468-1891.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-20 to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Car wrecks can wreck your life and leave you with medical bills, lost wages, and lasting pain. That's why you should call Hilly & Solis. Hilly & Solis are former prosecutors that know how to fight and know how to win. Contact them at 210-762-6261.
Principal office in San Antonio, Texas. Message brought to you by a non-attorney spokesperson.
Joe Reinagle here. I want to tell you about something that has completely changed my life. I had vision correction surgery at Parkhurst New Vision. The results are amazing. The readers are a thing of the past. Hey, if you're like me and tired of those glasses, call Parkhurst New Vision at 210-585-2020. They offer a variety of services like vision correction surgery. So call Parkhurst New Vision, 210-585-2020, or get them online at sanantoniolasik.com.
The Jim Rome Show is coming to San Antonio.
He's great. He's awesome. The guy's insane.
The Jim Rome Show debuts Monday, August 14th at 12 noon on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Live from the Cowboys training camp in Oxnard, this is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, KTFM Floresville. This is a Dallas Cowboys training camp update.
It is Friday. Football is back. The Browns beating the Jets last night in the Hall of Fame game. The Houston Astros visiting the New York Yankees last night, trying to retighten things into AL West. Football's back. Baseball's back. Things roll on. We're at Cowboys camp in Oxnard, California, here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
This is Cowboys Corner on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Prescott in the gun, back on his right. Deep left, got Lamb. Touchdown!
With Cowboys insider and Blogging the Boys manager and editor-in-chief, RJ Ochoa. Now, live from Oxnard, California, and Cowboys training camp, here's RJ Ochoa.
This is Cowboys Corner. I'm on fire. That's right, baby. I'm on fire. Although it is, let's see, 71 degrees. Definitely not on fire. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. We are live in Oxnard, California, where it is 71 degrees for our AA Best Bail Bonds Dallas Cowboys training camp coverage. Also brought to you by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds and Texas Cheer Liquor. You can, of course, listen to us, 94.1, sasportstar.com, and the SA Sports Star YouTube channel. You've been hanging out with me all week long from 12 to 2. I'm keeping Jim Rome's seat warm in the meantime. It's been a fun time here this week in Oxnard, California. Lots of interviews. Let's see if I try to go through a mental Rolodex here. Between R&R in the morning and the Blitz, we've had Tony Pollard. We've had I'm going to fail at doing this in order. We've had Dak Prescott. We've had Mike McCarthy. We've had Dan Quinn. We've had Jerry Jones. We've had Stephen Jones. We've had Sam Williams. We've had Stephon Gilmore. We've also had Micah Parsons. And Micah was so good. And Micah is the kind of person that I think, like, if you want to listen to like motivational things, like if you just want to, like run some hills or something, and you want to listen to anything that kind of motivates you, I would just listen to Micah Parsons talk, because he's that kind of person. He's so inspirational with the way he approaches what he does. And I mean, the results sort of speak for themselves in that sense. And so it was really cool to see him kind of manifest or explain how he manifests things. I think is maybe the better way to put it. Rudy J ducked from that interview. He did not want to be a part of it after he had called Micah out. And so that was shameful on his behalf, but nevertheless, it was still a good time. And it was such a good time that we want to make sure you're able to hear it again. So this is Micah Parsons hanging out this week on the Blitz on Wednesday. Buckle up and listen.
Micah Parsons live here on the Blitz, man. How's everything?
Everything's good, man. Everything's good.
Well, it looks, Micah, when we go over there and watch you, I mean, you don't have a slow speed. When you're on that field, man, it looks like you're going 100 miles an hour every play.
Every play. That's what I say, you know, conditioning and just preparing yourself for where you want to be and how you want to attack it and where you want to put other people.
You look at Micah, always with so much energy. And I know you're coming off a practice field right now. I was watching NFL Network before we came out here to Oxnard on Saturday, and you jumped on live with those guys and talked about working with some of the veteran guys like Whitworth in the offseason, just anybody you can to learn from. What has your offseason development been like?
My offseason development been through the roof. You know, trying to learn. The biggest thing is just knowing that you're not the best and where you want to be. When you strive for perfection, you try to grab anything. You know, I'm listening to conversations. I'm listening to off-season workouts. I'm listening to what you anticipate, what you're looking at. You know, I want to grab anything that I can just add to my game and to give me that extra inch I need to be the best.
You know, it's funny that you say that. We're visiting with Micah Parsons here on the Blitz. And it's interesting you say that you're not the best. You talk to anybody that knows anything about football, and they say you are the best. When people talk about you in that kind of glowing terms, do you just shut that out, or do you listen to it, or what do you do?
I just shut it out because, you know, people look from the outside and just see the great things I do, but I think about all the things I miss, you know, so I'm not always so optimistic on about what I do. I think about what I can't do a lot more. So I know what I'm striving for and, you know, what my weaknesses are and where I need to be. And, you know, I bet there's 100 linemen looking at my film this year thinking, like, how do we get this guy? And, you know, they think they got an edge, but, you know, I was looking at that same film thinking about how I could get that edge back over them. So, you know, it takes a lot of dedication.
Micah Parsons joining us here on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. Without being too specific, because, you know, all the offensive linemen that listen to this show, both of them, when you talk about your weaknesses, how for helping an average fan that's listening right now who sees no weakness in your game, what are you looking at that most people don't, especially when you see like some online criticism or something?
Yeah, I'm looking at my strength, my durability, my get off, my attacking point, my hands. You know, they might not all be big things, but they could just be little things that just add up to become a problem.
You know, Micah, there was a lot made about you bulking up in the offseason, right? Everybody said, oh, no, we can't do that because they'll lose some quickness. Well, it doesn't look like you've lost any quickness. What has that bulking up done for your game?
Yeah, I just got leaner, just stronger. I think more powerful and explosive. You know, the things I'm able to do this year, the coach is like, man, where did that come from? Like, you're on it. Like everything that, you know, we wanted to see, you're showing it. They couldn't have been more happy the way that I came in. So, you know, like I said, I took that loss in the playoffs and understood the assignment of where I wanted to be and where I wanted to go this year. And I'm ready for it.
The other day, I was saying on the air, this team had a chance to be, defense had a chance to be historically good. And last week, you mentioned some of the great defenses. How much time do you spend studying some of those great defenses? You mentioned the Legion of Boom. You mentioned the Ray Lewis Ravens teams. Do you watch a lot of that film?
I do, and I watched their documentaries. I watched Ray Lewis documentary so many times. His attitude. I even watched Spartan 300 because of him. Like, you know, I wanted to understand his mindset, where he was coming from, where he tapped into, like, you know, where he's going to put his foot down and stand that line, and it didn't matter who was against him, and I just loved every bit of it.
You know, Michael, when you look at it, though, and training camp is one thing, and I know you've been out here, and we already talked about you going 100 miles an hour. You had a great play yesterday, but poor Tyron Smith didn't know what hit him, and I know you guys are teammates, and you'll take pleasure in that, but you got to know that offensive coordinators, when the Dallas Cowboys are on that schedule, the first guy they're going to look at is number 11.
Have to, and if they don't, that's a shame on them. I'll make them pay.
Love that.
Daddy too.
Micah Parsons with the mic drop here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star as he's live here on the Blitz at Cowboys camp. What gives you the most satisfaction on the field? Not necessarily in practice, but watching you take a man like Tyron Smith and drop him, you know, like you were taking me out. Is it that scoring a touchdown? I mean, when do you know you have just gotten the best of somebody that you're going against?
When I hear them defeated. You know, there's a lot of slick talk when the guy's like, damn, like what the F, like that's when I get my enjoyment. I don't get my enjoyment, you know, as I'm beating them, because a lot of guys like to fight back. But there's going to be a certain point in the game where this guy's tired and I'm not tired. I'm still able to go deeper than this guy's willing to go, and he just don't know what to do and he'll lose himself.
You know, Mike, I've heard a lot, and I don't know whether you're joking or not, but you could like to try some offense. Is that true? Am I hearing that right, or was that just a rumor?
No, that's true. That's just something I just like. I like to play.
Well, yeah, the Cowboys could probably use a running back about now. Could you do that?
Nah, we had some great guys, but, you know, tight end, running back, whatever.
I mean, it was short yardage situation.
Exactly.
I could see that. I mean, why not? I'd love to see it. You know, I'm sure you're not going to play much in the preseason, but I mean, in a regular season game, 1 yard line, 4th and goal.
Yeah, I guess it'll be a surprise.
He's not giving us anything here. Although I've got to ask, Micah, what are you doing to the rookies out there?
Man, I'm just motivating them. I'm just trying to get everyone going.
That's not what I'm asking you, man. Did you see Mozzie today?
Yeah.
Was that rookie hazing?
This out. Mozzie's wearing some swanky underwear.
Our guy, Rudy J, who's from our morning show, sent this picture from the practice field. Dude's in white pants and his red underwear says "send nudes." You make him do that?
That's just Mozzie, bro. He's off.
He's off.
That's just Mozzie.
So he decided to do that. I was really hoping that veterans required him to do that.
Even yesterday in my game, he just wore tub shorts. I was like, Mozzie, what are you doing?
What does that mean? I honestly, man, what does that mean?
They're just gray, like there's things you wear into like the cold tub. He just wore them out to practice. I was like, Mozzie.
Nobody needs to see that, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's pretty cool though, because look, you've shown, especially, I guess it's not called Twitter anymore, whatever it's called, but I mean, you got a personality out there. A lot of you guys, I mean, y'all like to have a lot of fun. Is it a fun time in that locker room when you guys get done?
It's fun.
That's it.
No, we've talked a lot of football. Dude, you have some fun this offseason. You always say, anybody that follows you on social, you had a great offseason. What is Micah Parsons like on a day-to-day when it's not involving football?
Man, I mean, sheesh. Man, it's video games, it's traveling, it's working out, it's, the pool, it's basketball, it's pickleball, it's bowling, man. I try to do something just every day.
So I get the feeling you don't stay at home a lot.
I don't.
Well, because you post, hey, where's a pickleball court? I want to go play. How many fans actually show up? Or
I actually play with a lot of people.
But like you don't care. Like you just roll in and go.
Yeah, I just want to compete.
You just want to compete.
And you like to be around the people too, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, that's cool. And obviously they're drawn to you. I mean, you've got to love the response that you've gotten, not just from the fans here in Dallas, but Cowboy fans everywhere.
I do. And, it's been great. And I'm just truly grateful.
All right. I got it. How many sacks this year?
Man, I don't know yet. But it will be a dominant performance.
Now,
more than 13.5?
More than 13.5.
All right. Well, so certainly more than 2.5. And I got to be honest with you, man. And I'm not throwing my guy under the bus here, but I am. Our morning guy, Rudy J. Is Rudy J around here anywhere?
I have no idea.
He hadn't showed up yet. He being a troll that he is, wrote on Instagram last night 2.5, and you actually responded to it.
Yeah.
You look for it, and I was wishing Rudy J would have the balls to come up here and be here while I ask this question, but I know you've got to wrap up and get to a meeting. So, what message do you have for our guy Rudy J?
I have Rudy beat the first week.
The first week.
Yeah.
There you go.
Danny Dimes is going down, huh? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
He's just trolling, man. He's just one of those types. He's just one of those types.
I know he's trolling. That's why I commented.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Micah Parsons, man, appreciate you stopping by here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
That was awesome. Shout out to Micah Parsons. Shout out to Jason Minix. Shout out to Joe Reinagel. And I suppose to a different degree, shout out to Rudy J. for serving as inspiration for that little bit at the very end. It's so cool how Micah kind of approaches his, I don't even know what to call it at this point, his job, his life, his athleticism, his professional career. Imagine, because this is true, what they said and what they told him. If you follow, Mike on any level of social media, that he'll, like what Jason said, he'll just say like, yo, who's playing pickleball, who's playing basketball, who's got a pool table, who's playing some ping pong, whatever. Imagine you're just playing pickleball at a random court or whatever in town, and Micah Parsons shows up. It's kind of a throwback, I think, to, the way we see and hear stories of the past, like in a pre-internet era. And so that's just cool to see. And I really liked hearing how he watches. Look, at our core, this is why people get, you have this like existential argument when somebody says, oh yeah, we lost, we won, whatever. And then somebody kicks back at them and says, what do you mean we? Like, what did you play? Were you on the team? Were you on the field? What happened? Were you on the court? And it's like, hell yeah, I'm saying we, it's my team. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm born and raised in this team. I live for this team. And so my point is, like, the nature of professional sports is sometimes you run into a situation where, players don't necessarily, it doesn't seem like they feel the way you do. And what's so awesome about Micah is he just seems like, he seems like somebody who is just a fan, right? He's just a fan who happens to have the insane athleticism and physical prowess to be able to do the things that he does. And so that is such a cool thing to kind of experience and see, not just as somebody who's on the team, but somebody who's the best player on the team. So shout out to Micah for always kind of keeping it real in that sense. I don't know about sacks. I mean, like, I don't want to be, negative here, but so Micah had 13 sacks as a rookie. That's important to know. Like, and I think this is a conversation to have. Micah had 13, sacks as a rookie, and he had 13 and a half last year. Okay, great. So it stands to reason, right? You say, like, oh, well, if we follow the path, he'll have more in 2023, right? Like, that's just the way likelihood or whatever works. I don't know that I buy that. Depending on where you look, various over-unders I saw like 2 weeks ago were at 11.5. That's low. But if you told me the over-under was 13.5, right? Because he's saying more, right? He's saying he's going to have more. I would take the under. I might take the under on 11.5 too. And it's nothing against Micah. It's not that I don't think he can. If Micah Parsons plays 100% every single game, Duke could have 20 sacks easily. Like, that's just, it's a matter of circumstance. And if you're, dropping some jelly beans on this thing, you have to play the odds. You have to play the likelihood. And so what is the likelihood that Micah Parsons is playing the full out 100% version of every single game? I mean, think about the last 2 years. The Cowboys in week 18 last year went to Washington, and it wasn't quite a meaningless game because had they won and had the Eagles lost, they would have taken over in terms of NFC East champions. But, it was sort of a half effort game because the Eagles won very easily because they were playing a Giants team that had nothing to play for themselves. So kind of an on ice sort of game. The year before, Micah's rookie year in 2021, he actually didn't even play because the Cowboys could not improve their playoff position in that final game in week 18. You will recall they were in Philadelphia, and the Eagles had nothing to play for either. They were already locked in as the 7th seed. And so, my point is, will the opportunity be there? Because if the opportunity is not, then he can't do it. I mean, you're talking if he only gets, I don't know, 14, 15 games where he's playing 100% of things. We know the Cowboys want to be very wise with him. We know they want to take things very, or be very cautious with him. And that's smart. That's the right way to do it, which is why, it makes sense that an over-under is lower. The opportunities may not be there, but he's certainly well capable of achieving, again, 20 sacks is low. If you're talking Micah playing 100% of everything, full out all the time, every single game, it's just a matter of whether or not those things will exist and be fair for him. Things are a little bit different with Trayvon Diggs in terms of his opportunities because he doesn't control them as much. I mean, that's, it was inevitable last year that he was going to regress from an interception standpoint, went from 11 and 21 to 3 last year. But I mean, if you tell me the over-under was 3.5, right, like sort of an improvement off of last year, I might take the over on that. And a big reason for that is Stephon Gilmore on the other side. I mean, there are going to be more opportunities for the $97 million man to come away with a few interceptions. And I know we talked about it in the first hour. I hate to bring it up, but just in the interest of full disclosure, obviously, Dak Prescott, was asked about everything with regards to the trash talk and everything, et cetera, et cetera. It's dumb. It's silly, whatever. It's a non-story, to use Dak's words himself. But obviously, Dak was one of two people that were directly involved in that, with Trayvon Diggs being the other. Trayvon being the one being accused of not having any respect for his quarterback and all this stupid stuff. Well, Trayvon has spoken this week as well, and he has also called it dumb. He has also called it silly. But I'll let you hear what Trayvon had to say right from his mouth.
Stay out the business. Get out the business. Yeah, people don't need to worry about what we got going on, our relationship, my relationship with my brother, or, how we operate. At the end of the day, it's our team. Dak's the leader of our team. He can go out there and have a great year. I have the utmost respect for Dak. So, whatever narrative, people want to run with, that's just what it is. But we know, and, we know how we are, and we know that it's nothing. And that stuff can never come between us. It's nothing. We don't even talk about it. So,
I mean, I heard Jason say this yesterday, and I agree with him. The only thing that I would push back on Trayvon there is like, dude, no one's going to stay out of your business. I understand like why he said what he did, but that's just not going to happen. And, I'm sort of, defeated as a content creator in the sense of like, there's all these people that are like coming for the national media, national narrative that are around the Cowboys saying, look, quit saying these dumb things. And, that kind of goes back to the age-old, like, you're giving them what they want, you're giving them attention. And so, you do have to kind of wonder if like, maybe it just comes back even harder, so to speak. But that's just the never-ending cycle that is life in and around the Dallas Cowboys. But I think we're all grateful for that. So we've properly put to bed the silly little issue with whatever. Dak really declined to talk about interceptions yesterday. So we've put that to bed. He actually, Rudy brought this up yesterday. He didn't even want to say the word. So maybe Dak does believe in the power of manifestation and words have power and things like that. But anyway, other takeaways here, because we spent a lot of time, before that interview, before the break, talking about position players on the Cowboys and explosive players and where the Cowboys have improved. I honestly think that, I think the defense is better. And I realize how silly that sounds, because a year ago, it made all the sense in the world that there would have been regression to the mean, right? Because they had all these takeaways in 2021. And not only did that not happen, but they had 1 billion sacks. I don't know that the Cowboys are going to have 1 billion sacks as a defense in 2023, but I know they're going to be very good. I know that they have a platoon of pass rushers that are going to make life very, very, very difficult for those around them. So I believe if we let's start at the front and we move back. I believe in that. Actually, I haven't read this story yet. It's on my bookmarks in my Apple News app. But Michael Gelkin, who I saw running around here today already at the Dallas Morning News, wrote about Leighton Vander Esch being used a bit as an edge rusher. I haven't really seen that a ton myself, but obviously, this is a very trustable sort of place to get this information. It's been so, frankly, cool, but interesting is maybe a better word, to see how the Cowboys defense has evolved. I guess under Dan Quinn is probably the best way to say it, but just over the last few years, you have these hybrid sort of players. Micah Parsons was one of them, right? Like this linebacker, edge rusher. Now he's just this like amazing edge rusher. So now you've got Leighton Vander Esch putting his hand to the ground. That's interesting. You obviously have players like Jaron Kearse and Marquise Bell and rookie DeMarvion Overshown, who are these, safety linebacker hybrids. You have, even Izzy Mukwamu, who's hurt at the moment, but this kind of corner safety hybrid. The Cowboys, that's what I have kind of, if I have to put my excitement stock in one thing and one quality and one bullet point, I'm most excited, and this has been super obvious throughout the entire week that we've been here. The Cowboys are no longer like sort of tunnel visioned on certain things, right? They're not like, oh, we have to have this position, we have to have this true tried classic off-ball middle linebacker, whatever. The Cowboys have reached a point as a coaching staff and as an operation, as an organization, where it's just, hey, let's just give us athletes, just give us really strong, fast dudes, and we'll figure out how to make it work. And we've seen them do that on offense. We've seen them do that on defense. We see them kind of continue to tinker and toy with that. We talked about Deuce Vaughn and Kevontae Turpin as sort of examples of that on the offensive side of the ball. But again, they're constantly evolving, and there's a constant, and that's something that Dan Quinn talked about too, right? With in his appearance this week, is it's not just the word develop. The word sort of has this connotation that it's only applicable to young players, or only young players can develop, and only young players can learn and grow and change. And he talked about how, look, Micah Parsons is developing, Jaron Kearse is developing. We just mentioned Leighton Vander Esch is developing, talking about his 6th NFL season at this point in time. And so the fact that you can learn and develop and toy and tinker and turn them into different sort of pieces and mold them in ways that they weren't used before, it's how you become flexible. It's how you become malleable. It's how you become adaptive and able to kind of withstand not just the rigors of an NFL season from a physical perspective, but the rigors of an NFL season in terms of what you're going to see. No week is the same. No game plan is the same. No opponent is the same. Even your divisional ones that you see twice a year. You have to be able and willing and open, really, is kind of the first step to adjusting on the fly. And we are starting to see that in spades from the Cowboys, not just on one side of the ball, but all over the place, which is a very, very exciting thing. So kudos to Dan Quinn, kudos to Leighton Vander Esch, kudos to all these people, because these players, there has to be a level of trust, right? And that's where, again, the vibes here, look, the vibes are immaculate. And I say that as there's this like cool little gust of breeze floating around my ankles. I'm actually cold. So I wish I'd brought a jacket here, but I didn't. So tough scene for me. But the vibes are immaculate. And you can kind of see that and sense that and feel that, within everybody who's associated with this team right now, which is a super duper exciting thing right now. It has been a really informative week in that sense. I think that's been one of my biggest takeaway is that there is no sense of dread. There is no sense of negative. There is no fear in any way, shape, or form. The Cowboys are just kind of prepared and ready and willing to kind of move and operate in the way that makes the most sense for them. And that's an exciting thing as we get closer and closer to the regular season starting. Obviously, next week is the preseason. And so we'll see. That's the thing. Like, you say things like, this was my biggest takeaway, but it changes, right? Like, it changes. I mean, we've seen 3 padded practices, and I felt differently on Tuesday than I did on Monday, and I felt differently yesterday than I did on Tuesday. And that's really an exciting thing specifically about how the Cowboys are operating in an overall sense. And so I'm pumped. I imagine that you're pumped. I know that all those around me are pumped. And so kudos to the Cowboys for doing the right thing, for being a fully functional NFL organization. It took long enough, but we're here. We've arrived, and the good times, they roll on. Speaking of rolling on, this is our AA Best Bail Bonds Dallas Cowboys training camp coverage, also brought to you by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds and Texas Cheer Liquor. This is Cowboys Corner on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. My name is RJ Ochoa, and your name, no matter what it is perfect and beautiful and wonderful. And I think that you are amazing. And thank you so much for hanging out with us. We have a little bit more to go.
The guys are on the road again. This time, San Antonio Sports Star travels to Cowboys training camp in Oxnard, California.
Deep down the right side. Oh, it's caught.
With the full support of AA Best Bail Bonds, providing complete backup for any of those things that happen while on the road. Nobody provides better coverage of training camp than 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Left side of the end zone. Touchdown.
We'll hear from the players, coaches, be right in the middle of the media frenzy, and of course, hear from owner Jerry Jones.
We get to suck on that all week.
It's Cowboys training camp, live from Oxnard, California. Presented by AA Best Bail Bonds, Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, Texas Cheer Liquor, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, and sasportstar.com.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you're always getting professional grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Happy 62nd birthday, Granddad.
Thanks, sweetheart.
I got you this.
A mug. Oh, thank you. What does it say? Beware, if you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of hospitalization from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
At Fisher Investments, our clients know we have their backs.
How do your clients know that?
Because Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first.
So wait, you do it because you have to?
No, we do it because it's the right thing to do. Our clients trust us with their retirement savings, and we know how important that responsibility is. So we take the time to really get to know them.
Get to know them how?
We make sure we understand their unique goals, finances, health, family, and lifestyle so we can tailor their portfolio to their specific needs. Our goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Sounds like a big responsibility. You must make big commissions then, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We have one single transparent fee that's structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-497-9090. That's 800-497-9090. 800-497-9090.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now, but I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GEAR for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code GEAR for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code GEAR.
Missing your NFL team's out-of-market games? Not a great plan. A much better plan? Switch to My Plan from Verizon and get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV on us with eligible phone purchase and Unlimited Plus. That's a value of up to $449. Get every out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. Switch to My Plan at your Verizon store today. And for a limited time, get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV on us with eligible phone purchase and Unlimited Plus. It's your Verizon. $449 value applies to NFL Sunday Ticket season 23-24 only. Additional terms and embargoes apply to NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube. No refunds.
Lowe's knows how to save pros time and money. Right now, get 10% off all kitchen cabinet orders of $1,000 or more. Plus, MVP's Pro Rewards members earn double the bonus points on select stock cabinets through August 4th. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Must ask cashier to apply discount barcode at time of purchase. Discount on cabinet purchase only. Coupon cannot be used with any other discount. Valid 7/27 through 8/9. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any.
Life moves fast. No one has time for a car, truck wreck, or commercial vehicle accident. At Davis Law Firm, we get it. When you call the force, you don't have to worry about insulting offers from insurance adjusters, property damage, or car rental. We recently settled a wrongful death case in a commercial vehicle accident for $5 million. Net to clients was $2.8 million. I'm Jeff Davis. If you were in a car, truck wreck, or hit by a commercial vehicle, call me at 444-4444. You got it. There's only one number to remember. 4. Attorney consultation by appointment only. Davis Law Firm, San Antonio. Davis Law Firm is a proud official partner, personal injury attorney of the San Antonio Spurs.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text BAIL to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
The Jim Rome Show is coming to San Antonio.
He's great. He's awesome. The guy's insane.
The Jim Rome Show debuts Monday, August 14th at 12 noon on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Never leaving on a high note. All day, going up and down so constantly. High
Wow. This song rocks. I need players to tell me the name Stat. It might be called High Low. I'm going to guess. It's my official guess. So Pledge can let me know if I'm correct. Welcome back to the Cowboys Corner. Got 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, sasportstar.com, the SA Sports Star Tube of You channel. All right. So look, here's the thing. Today is Friday, August the 4th. The Cowboys, those jerks, they're off. They're not even practicing. But we do have some breaking news across the NFL. We've been waiting on this for a long time, some resolution on this specifically. It was just announced by all the NFL insiders that New Orleans Saints running back Alvin Kamara is being suspended 3 games for violations of the personal conduct policy for his role in an altercation around the time of the 2022 Pro Bowl. So to put in perspective how long ago that this occurred, it was immediately following the 2021 season. So we're talking about like 19, 20 months at this point in time. So Alvin Kamara going to miss 3 games for New Orleans. Those 3 games, the first one at home in the Superdome against the Tennessee Titans, the next 2 on the road against the Carolina Panthers and the Green Bay Packers. So we'll see how that ultimately kind of impacts and shakes things up in the NFC South. In case you forgot, the Saints did sign Jamal Williams in free agency, who set the franchise record for the Detroit Lions last year in terms of rushing touchdowns on the season. Jamal Williams was great, kind of helped them spell DeAndre Swift getting hurt. Now a member of the Eagles, DeAndre Swift, by the way. There's been a lot of running back turnover associated with the Lions, and they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs in the first round and signed David Montgomery in free agency. But if you're, like I mentioned this a while ago, if you're getting ready for your fantasy draft, something like that, you now have to take this into consideration. Alvin Kamara said on Friday to local reporters, "I was completely wrong. I embarrassed the Saints. I embarrassed my family and my mother. I embarrassed myself, embarrassed the city, and the Shield obviously embarrassed the NFL." So Alvin Kamara officially suspended 3 games, the first 3 games of the season for the New Orleans Saints. Obviously, that doesn't totally impact the Cowboys, although you never know. I mean, the way standings shake out with the Saints and the Panthers and the Packers. Saints in a weird spot. I don't know what to make of the Saints this year. I mean, I mentioned Jamal Williams. They also have Derek Carr now. Kind of just hard to really, put my finger on what I expect of New Orleans this year, but whatever. What I expect out of the Cowboys is greatness. I expect unparalleled greatness from the Dallas Cowboys, and that is an assertion that Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott seems to agree with himself. Dak Prescott was asked how he would define a successful season this year for the Cowboys, and he said, honestly, Super Bowl. But that's not the only thing he said. Look, Dak Prescott said a lot of things in his Thursday appearance with Jason and Joe on the Blitz, and because it was so wonderful, I want you to hear the whole thing. So here is Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, The Blitz, on Thursday, August the 3rd, with Jason Minix and Joe Reinagle.
It is The Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagle. I'm Jason Minix, now joined by the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott. Dak, let's put this microphone down like that there. Turn it
Look at that.
on. I mean,
it's amazing when things work.
You do everything around here. I figured you were doing all that by yourself. I mean, you've done it enough. Yeah. All right. Okay. The elephant in the room. I saw the video the other day and went, yeah. And now it's a national story. You told us last year you're one of the best trash talkers on this team. It's a non-story, right?
It's 1,000% not a story at all. As I said before, I'm just glad they didn't get everything that's always said and talked about because, just to me, it's a sign of not a lot of people have been in heated competing moments, and that's all that is. That's a brother right there. It's a guy that I see as a little brother. We have real life conversations, so when you're on the field, nothing really matters. Those are words, and those are guys holding each other accountable to wanting to be great.
Dak, you're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and with that, as well as anybody, comes either criticism or a lot of love. I'm watching TV this morning, and half of all those national sports shows are about you and the Dallas Cowboys. Is that tough to get used to, or do you just try to tune that out?
Yeah, I don't watch TV for one, so I couldn't have told you that. It doesn't bother me at all. Yeah, but when you've been the quarterback for this team for 8 years, you understand that anything you do, anything that you say is always going to be a headline, or is going to be something for some people to talk about and to create an opinion about. So it's part of it. Words don't hurt me, never really have. I know who I am. I know who this team is. I know what I strive to be each and every day. And that's really the only thing that's important to me.
Dak Prescott joining us here on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. You look at this team as we're, another new year. Stephen Jones told us when he was on the show a couple of days ago, this might be the most complete roster that this team, the Cowboys, have brought to training camp in a number of years. Do you kind of feel that?
Yeah, I agree, especially just in my time. I mean, understanding the defense that we have, the depth on defense that we have, and it's now being a part of this offense, all the playmakers that we have. It's truly going out there. It's an iron sharpen iron environment. It is a game like rep each and every play, and it's special. People are getting better, and we have a lot of good players who are holding themselves accountable to learning this system and to making sure that they're not the guy that's left behind. And I think when you have that, that's just a level that allows everybody to push the competition and to get better.
You say learning the system. Obviously, the big news in the offseason, that Mike McCarthy's taking over the play calling, and there's some new things here. How much different, without giving anything away, obviously, but
give it all away.
How much different is it going to be, Dak?
It's going to be a little different. I just think in the way that he calls the plays are a little bit more aggressive in a sense, but that you might not see it because he's calling them. But we've also communicated so well that, hey, make sure that's the right look. Make sure this is exactly what we want. I've got a few plays always in my back pocket to get to if I'm not comfortable what's being called against this defense. But we've got so many playmakers. I think you're going to see the ball coming out of my hand faster. Two guys like CD, Tony Pollard, Deuce, Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup, these young tight ends, and it's a special group that we have, and all of them are hungry to get the ball, and all of them are hungry to make plays.
Dak Prescott joining us here on the Blitz, here at training camp since the pads have gone on, which, 3 practices. But when a play hasn't been there, in years past, you dirt it, you start over or move on to the next one. This year, it seems like you're scrambling more. Will that be a part of the offense during the regular season?
Yeah, I think so. I think that just comes from getting healthy, understanding and feeling healthy, understanding the look that's behind the secondary, right? Or the look that's behind the D-line, and knowing that, hey, if the look's not there, well, these guys are in man-to-man, these guys are in two-man, you know what I mean? This zone is flooded out to go get it, and a lot of it is paying attention to the situations, the down and distance. And so, as I said, we're already practicing like game like reps, and hey, this is third down, we can go for it. And so everything matters, and I'm just trying to put myself in a game like environment every time that I'm taking a snap.
Dak, as a quarterback, I'm sure you have to have a short memory.
Yeah, very. Because
plays or throws can go bad, things like that can happen. I don't want to talk about last year, but you've already said you're going to have less interceptions this year. Is that going to take away from your aggressiveness, trying to throw guys open or fit a ball into a tight squeeze?
What happened last year? I'm just kidding.
No, that was a great answer.
It's about the details, and our receivers have all got on. There's a credit to Coach McCarthy and Brian Schottenheimer, and just in the way that they've installed this offense, installed their system, is making sure everybody knows the purpose of a play. Everybody understands where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to get the ball, and if they get the ball. Then at times, if they don't, the scrambles that can come behind them. So, I don't. You never expect to do what happened last year, and I understand that we're a much better team, where we've got more weapons, and we're just much better detailed in just the way that we're going to go about this game, that I don't even care to say the word anymore, and just trying to get better. As I said, play each rep like it's a game and just continue to get better.
A lot of talk, and not that we want to just keep going back to last year, but
yeah.
You look at the number, and then there's well, that one wasn't his fault, that one wasn't his fault, that one wasn't his fault, tipped or wrong route or whatever. You guys are the only ones that know, right? Will you tell us how many were actually on you versus just the game of football?
Yeah, at this point, I don't even know the number. What was the number that I had? Honestly, I don't like.
Nobody's gonna remind 15.
I couldn't tell you, but every interception has its own story. And there's I'm sure a few that weren't great decisions, and there's a few that got away from me. And then there was a few that, hey, maybe they got away from me with the wrong route, right? But when you play this position, when you sign up in Pee Wee football and you want to be a quarterback until you play in the NFL, you've got to understand with all the job responsibilities and what that comes with. And that comes with taking that. You know what I mean? I'll take that patch and I'll wear that patch and understand that all those were my interceptions. They left my hand. I'm accounted for them, and that's how it is. And so when you play this position, you get the blame put on you sometimes, but a lot of times you get the credit that you don't deserve as well. So that's part of it, and I'll own all of them.
All right, I know we're in training camp. We're looking forward to the season. Jason and I have been talking about this today. How do we define a successful season for the Dallas Cowboys? 12-5 the last 2 years. How does Dak Prescott define a successful season?
Yeah, honestly, Super Bowl. I've had a lot of wins in my career, a lot of winning seasons, and at this point, going into year 8, playing for this organization, it was that way in year 1, and I don't think the expectations have yet changed. It's to win a Super Bowl, and it's well overdue in this organization, and it's something that I want to get done in my career, and not just one. But you've got to start with that. So it's about building on these past 2 years of 12-win seasons, making it to the playoffs, but winning. And once we get there, and winning the whole thing.
Dak Prescott joining us here on the Blitz as we wrap up the important question. During the year, Mike McCarthy is on our morning show with Rob Thompson and Rudy J, the guy over there in that pony jacket that was cool in 1984.
I like it.
They send them they send them breakfast tacos. And
is that who that comes from?
That's coming from us, right? And so, what is the preferred breakfast taco of Dak Prescott?
Sausage, bacon, and eggs with the hash browns in it.
Nice.
And the sauce on the side. So y'all do send the sauces. So
so I mean, you're happy with that, because I know. I mean,
that's not an every week thing.
Well, you have to win.
There's a trend.
It's only after a win.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we've had a lot of wins these past seasons. So I haven't paid attention to the trends.
The McCarthy hasn't been sharing enough, but like
he's been sharing them.
Ben DiNucci's like, hey, can you send some of these, or can you send some of those a couple of years ago? And then he's the one that realized you guys only seem to send them after a win.
Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah.
So there is the specific breakfast taco that's going to be yours when they make the quarterback room.
That's perfect. I can't wait to get them every week.
Awesome.
Every week.
Awesome.
Undefeated.
Dak Prescott here on the Blitz, man. Good luck this season. Appreciate you stopping by.
You. Dak, thanks.
It's the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Great stuff between Dak Prescott, Jason Minix, and Joe Reinagle, and by association, Rob Thompson and Rudy J. Well, with the breakfast tacos sent to Mike McCarthy following wins. I think Dak's right. I mean, that's 24 tacos, or 24 orders of tacos over the last couple of years. 25th if you count the playoff game. Obviously, that's a big old that's a big old kind of routine and tradition. Very cool how Dak kind of knew and talked about things, and how he knew the sauces made it their way. I got to say, not in agreement with Dak on an ideal breakfast taco. Look, it's not hash browns. I want potatoes. I don't want hash browns in my taco. I mean, I can settle for that, I suppose, but I don't want that. So whatever. But Dak Prescott, that was one of the cooler moments, obviously, here on San Antonio Sports Star throughout the week. We have just had a tremendous time. Really, it's been so much fun to obviously see the Cowboys training and practicing, and have all these interviews and bring them to you. And all of them are available on the San Antonio Sports Star YouTube channel. If you go in there, you can see every single one. You can see how much fun the players are having. And in kind of closing thoughts here on Cowboys Corner, and I just want to thank Tim Spence and Jason Minix and Joe Reinagle and Rudy J and Rob Thompson for having me out here. It's been so much fun to be back with the San Antonio crew for a little bit. So my deep appreciation to them for the warm welcome over the past week. I've never left a Cowboys training camp the way I'm going to today, with a high level justified sense of optimism. Again, we can sit here and we can poke and we can make the jokes and, oh yeah, whatever, can't do this, can't do that, and all that's fine. But if we strip away the silly, if we strip away the not real, if we talk about boiling it down to brass tacks, and we talk about who this team is and what their achievable potential here is in 2023, we're talking about a team that can totally win the Super Bowl. There have been times I've left Cowboys camp and thought that team's really good if things break the right way. And I've been optimistic about them in a certain sense, but I mean, the arrow is pointing up in every way. I mean, they're dealing with some distractions right now, and it's not a thing. Like they're dealing with, silly little narratives around the world, and it's not a thing. I mean, they're completely and totally just focused and owned in on what they are trying to accomplish, and I really am impressed by that and respect that greatly. And so, I mean, I will say it this way, will they win the Super Bowl? Probably not, right? Like, like if we had to pick, if it were you and me and I said, okay, you can have the Cowboys and I can have the field, or vice versa. I mean, which one are you taking, right? I would take the field over any one team in the NFL. So it probably won't happen because you know what? Winning the Super Bowl is really, really, really hard. And so I would bet against it, but I would take certain bets and certain lines and certain odds because I'm not a sucker. I would have to get the right odds on this team, and I think that the right odds are around them. I think that everything is kind of working in their favor in a way that it hasn't, and I know that that's a tired line too, but to be like, this year's different for the Cowboys, but it kind of is. Like there is a different energy, there is a different kind of disposition encircling them, and it's obvious, and that's really what I think we've all sensed throughout our week around here at the River Ridge in Oxnard, California. It's never boring, it's never dull, it's never not interesting and entertaining. The Dallas Cowboys are the Dallas Cowboys for a reason. The weather is always delightful. I started the show and it was 71 degrees, and you're all just, I mean, I need your thoughts and prayers because it has risen. It is 72 degrees out here, and we're gonna have to walk back to the car in 72 degrees. I know we're gonna struggle, and we're gonna do it because it's our job. But I mean, just know that we are really sacrificing in the name of all of this to stroll through the 72 degrees. But seriously, great times here at camp, at the house, in the car, at the airport, at dinners. I mean, it's super cool, and I think that it's something I talk about a lot. Just generally, the reason we like sports and the reason something like this is so exciting is because this football season is sort of our reintroduction to the fall, right? So like foods are going to be back that we haven't had in a long time. The time, I don't know what the status is of the time. Do we still fall back? I don't know if it's illegal now or whatever that is. But whatever, like the fall is such a fun time of year. And this is sort of the, its way of kind of peeking in and winking at us that it's on its way. And so the fact that this is such a communal thing, that we all share this, that, that rooting against the Cowboys is sort of a password into a secret club that we all kind of share, spots and hold, positions in. It's fun. I mean, it's fun, and it's here again, and we've waited very patiently. We've waited very anxiously. And so the fact that it is finally here is super, 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 super duper fun. I think I want the final things that I kind of say here while we're wrapping up in our final minutes is enjoy the ride. I mean, enjoy the ride. This feeling of, I'll use the words of, well, as I set up here, Kate McAllister once said that Christmas was the season of perpetual hope. But that's not true. August is the season of perpetual hope, and there's a lot of perpetual hope surrounding the Dallas Cowboys, as my good friends Jason Mendix and Joe Ryan can attest to.
Well, that is correct. I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's not true. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
No idea what you're talking about.
No, we're trying to set up for a show here, RJ, and it's
guys,
tough to really pay attention to you.
You left some Gold Peak real brewed tea made with cane sugar, and
that
I drank
would be
one.
Rob Thompson.
I drank one. How are you all alive drinking these every day?
Well, I prefer, and I'm a big fan of Gold Peak tea. They used to have the diet tea that was my go-to, but now I go for the unsweetened, sugar-free, whatever. Rob drinks that what he has is like injecting pure sugar into your veins.
Yeah,
that's a little much for me, but I'll drink it in a pinch because I have to have my iced tea.
Well, there were several around here, and now I'm ready to climb a mountain while singing a song.
Well, since you've got to tear down all the equipment with Tim Spence, and I'm sure Spence will make you carry all the equipment to the car, you're going to need that tea energy.
You know what, guys? Thanks for the was delicious. I hope you guys, didn't hurt yourselves, didn't stretch yourselves out too much. Eating some delicious
it was
food.
outstanding, and we actually brought you some, but on the ride over here, Rob ate it. So sorry.
I mean, that's sort of true.
I hope you both stub your toes. That's what I want. I hope you stub your toes or step on Legos. Or, you know what? I hope you're right in the middle of enjoying something awesome on Netflix, and then your internet goes out and you can't finish it, and you don't know what the plot is.
I hear you, man, and yet you every day you sound more and more like the only child that you are.
Look, Jason, you guys about to be on the air for 4 hours, so why don't you get the hell out of here and let me wrap this thing up.
Thanks,
all right, y'all will
man.
get Jason and Joe on the Blitz in just a matter of moments. This has been so much fun. Thank you for having me in your cars, in your living rooms, on your PlayStations, on your Apple TVs. Wherever the case may be. I've really enjoyed it. If you want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you can at RJ Ochoa. On Threads, if that survives. At this point, it's really just a race between Threads and the Pac-12. Who's going to outlive the other? If you want to follow me on TikTok, you can RJ.Ochoa. And if you want to just step out your house and scream my name, I'll find you wherever that winds up being. So, yeah. Thanks for the memories. Yeah, what a great way to send us off. This was Cowboys Corner on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star and SASportsStar.com. Love you all.
The guys are on the road again. This time, San Antonio Sports Star travels to Cowboys training camp in Oxnard, California.
Deep down the right side. Oh, it's caught.
With the full support of AA Best Bail Bonds, providing complete backup for any of those things that happen while on the road. Nobody provides better coverage of training camp than 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Left side of the end zone. Touchdown.
We'll hear from the players, coaches, be right in the middle of the media frenzy, and of course, hear from owner Jerry Jones.
We get to suck on that all week.
It's Cowboys training camp, live from Oxnard, California, presented by AA Best Bail Bonds, Southern Recipe